Today, we're diving into the life of the legendary Miriam Makeba. Her name is practically synonymous with African music, but it also stands for this incredible, unwavering fight for freedom. And her story? Well, it really begins not with a song, but with a number. 31. At first glance, it's just a number, right? But behind this number is a story of just immense talent, profound sacrifice, and a resilience that is almost unbelievable. That's right. For 31 years, one of the biggest music stars on the planet was not allowed to go home. And this isn't just a piece of trivia. It is the absolute core of her journey. It's the price she paid for using her voice, not just to sing, but to stand up against one of the most brutal systems of injustice in modern history. So let's start with her iconic title, Mama Africa, a name just filled with so much love and so much respect. But where did it come from? You see, this wasn't just some catchy stage name. No, this was the title she earned. It was a recognition that she had become this cultural and political mother figure for an entire continent. She literally carried the hopes, the joys, and the sorrows of Africa in her voice, and she shared them with the whole world. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Her story starts in a time and a place defined by this deep, systemic division, apartheid South Africa. Just think about that for a second. From the very moment she entered this world, she was already a victim of the state's injustice. Her mother was jailed for brewing homemade beer, which was a common way for Black women to try and make a living. And so, Miriam's very first home was a prison cell. This experience didn't just shape her life. You could say it forged her destiny as a voice for the voiceless. Now, from these incredibly difficult beginnings, her talent just exploded. She started out with the Manhattan Brothers, fusing American jazz with these beautiful local harmonies. Then she shot to fame with the all-female group The Skylarks. But her real ticket to the world stage was a 1959 film called Come Back Africa, a raw, powerful look at the cruelty of apartheid. And this is where things really shift. As her fame grew, her art became more than just entertainment. To the powers that be, it became a weapon. This really captures the two sides of her life perfectly. On one hand, she was creating these joyful, infectious, global hits that celebrated her culture. But on the other hand, she was using that exact same voice as a weapon, a powerful testimony against the crimes of apartheid. For her, you simply could not separate the music from the message. I mean, millions of people all over the world danced to Pata Pata, many without having any idea about its political context. And with the click song, she did something totally remarkable. She introduced the unique click sounds of her Xhosa language to a global audience, turning a piece of her cultural heritage into an international phenomenon. But her defiance, speaking out on the world stage, well, it would come at an unimaginable cost. And this leads to the most challenging chapter of her life. Remember that number? Well, 1963. This is the year that changes everything. Because in 1963, Miriam Makeba stood before the United Nations and made a choice that would alter the course of her life forever. She stood before the leaders of the world, but she didn't sing. She testified. She used her global platform not for applause, but to plead, to beg for international action against the South African government. It was just an incredible act of bravery. And the regime's retaliation was swift, and it was brutal. They revoked her passport, they stripped her of her citizenship, they made her stateless. In an instant, she was an artist without a country, banned from the very home she was fighting so hard to save. But they couldn't silence her, not a chance. Her marriage to the Black Panther leader Stokely Carmichael connected the fight against apartheid directly to the American civil rights movement. Now, facing pressure even in the U.S., she moved to Guinea in West Africa. It became her adopted home, and from there, she continued to be a global ambassador for her cause. So after 3 long decades, 31 years in exile, the fight that she had championed from so far away finally brought change. And this opened the final, triumphant chapter of her story. Can you just imagine that moment? After 31 years, the invitation to finally come home came from Nelson Mandela himself, the ultimate symbol of a new, free South Africa. It must have been such a profoundly emotional return, not just for her, but for the entire nation. So when you look back, what is her legacy? Well, first, she's this incredible symbol of resistance. She proved that an artist's voice could be one of the most powerful tools for political change. Second, she was a global ambassador, sharing the beauty of African culture and its struggles with the world. And finally, she became this timeless inspiration for anyone fighting injustice anywhere. And her ending was just as powerful as her life. At 76 years old, she collapsed and died right after performing on stage at a concert to support journalists who were being threatened by organized crime. Even in her final moments, she was using her voice to fight for a just cause. She died singing for justice. Miriam Makeba's life poses a really powerful question to all of us. She showed the world that one voice, one single voice, filled with passion, conviction, and courage, can challenge an empire and inspire the entire world. And her story really makes you ask yourself, what does it truly mean to use your voice?